Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today I'm going to talk about QUETTA Gladiators and the reasons for their recent downfall. So I've identified 6 main reasons. Before I start, I just want to say it's really easy to identify problems, but finding the right solution is a difficult task. So I want to start with talking about player mismanagement. Recently and throughout the tournament, we've seen that the captain has used the wrong players at the wrong time. For instance, be it Zahid Mahmood in the most recent match, we saw that the batsman did take a liking to the spin bowling. However, bowling Zahid, especially in the last over, did not make any sense to me. Secondly, I want to talk about the criticism issues or feedback issues. Different players need different ways of reinforcement, different approaches, so not everyone's the same. The third issue that I see in this team is the core. If you look at other teams, Islamabad, Lahore for instance, you have Shaheen Afridi, Fakhar Zaman, Ben Dunk. If you look at Peshawar in the past, Sami, right now Wahab Riaz, Kamran Akmal, these players have an immense role to play in holding the team together, especially during tough times. In QUETTA Gladiators right now, I see a one-man core, I see a one-man army. I don't see anyone supporting him. Moreover, I feel that there is a lack of direction within the team. And this could possibly be because of the missing link between the foreign and local players. This could potentially be because of Sir Viv Richards. He hasn't been there at this tournament. And he has been one of the main driving factors when it comes to bridging the gap between the foreign and local players as well. And the biggest thing about Sir Viv Richards that I really admire is that QUETTA has looked to reinforce or back themselves with great players. If you look at Shane Watson, Faf du Plessis recently, Dale Steyn. So handling those big egos is a mighty task, and the way Sir Viv Richards used to do that as a mentor for QUETTA is something that they're clearly lacking this year. Last year, QUETTA had an unfortunate schedule where they weren't able to manage time correctly. It seems like they're still thinking about that. However, they have to move past that. I want to talk about solutions in 2 parts. I've identified short-term and long-term solutions. Short-term, we can see that QUETTA can implement a change in captaincy. I feel that this would be a short-term change because what a new captain will do, for instance, if you look, currently Nawaz is the vice captain. However, if you have a new captain right now, I feel it can change the flow of the game. It can change the flow of the players' feelings towards the squad. It can improve the bonding and the chemistry as well. The players, I've seen, they're under a lot of stress when it comes to their performances. They're under a lot of scrutiny. As I mentioned before, there are different ways to tackle different players. I feel that's not been done properly. Maybe having Nawaz as captain can change the tide a little bit in QUETTA's favor. Long term, while Nawaz is captain right now, if they do that, I feel they can groom a new captain, perhaps in Azam Khan, perhaps in someone that's been in the team for a long time. That's a stretch from here because Sarfraz does have the backing of the QUETTA ownership. So that will be something to see later on. It's going to be something interesting. Furthermore, I want to talk about playing players in different positions. Perhaps, we saw recently, early on in the tournament, Sarfraz did try to bat as an opener. It did not work out, but I feel on these pitches in UAE, he plays spin really well. So he could try that as well. So now I want to talk about the long-term options. As I mentioned before, grooming a young captain is going to be really important. All sides, if you look at Islamabad, for instance, they have Shadab. Everyone is looking towards the future. So that's something that QUETTA is going to have to think about as well. Furthermore, I feel that an area that QUETTA does need to focus on is their bowling attack. I can see that there's a lot of inexperience in the team with Naseem and Hasnain. However, that did well in prior years because you did have that experienced bowler backing them up and giving them confidence. This season, I don't see that. So QUETTA does need to go next season into the market and find an experienced bowler. They had Steyn recently, but that was for a short while, and that didn't really prove to be well, probably because of the miscommunication that does exist between the local and foreign players. You look at Lahore, they've strengthened with Tim David, Peshawar with David Miller, for instance. So QUETTA does need to be smart in the market right now because you don't have Viv Richards, for instance. If they don't have them next year, it's going to be really hard to bridge the gap between the young and the old players and the foreign and the local players. So they need to take that into account. I hope to see QUETTA do really well in the tournament that remains, and I want to see them do well next year. Hopefully, QUETTA can learn from this and look to implement a positive solution, perhaps in the short term, as I mentioned, or the long term as well. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. See you guys. Assalamu alaikum.